Greetings and salutations. You are watching episode number 12 of Pop Goes VR. My name is Danthol. I'm here with my co-host Ryan. How's it going, Ryan?
It's been absolutely crazy. Work is overloading. My wife threw out her back, so I was playing nurse for her as well as going to work. And school's starting soon, and so COVID round 2's kicking in. So it's absolutely hectic on my side of the world. How about yourself? How's your eyeballs? How's your eyeballs, Danthol?
My eyeball is recovering. I got this eye done here. There was like some, it was like all sagging and weird and everything. Like the day after I had the surgery, it felt like my eyeball had been turned like 15 degrees to the side. So everything was like one eye was normal. The other one was like, it was so weird. And then having to learn to adjust to the new implant in there. I have the implant is kind of weird. It's like a target thing. I thought I would be able to see the target, but I don't see that. I see vision just like normal. Some things, like it's a lot brighter, and I see kind of a little bit of a magenta kind of hue on things. I got weird little floaties that are always like present there. You look at them and you're like, where does it go? Where'd it go? You're doing that whole floaty thing where you're trying to see the thing and it's moving all of the time. So a little bit of adjustment there. I've noticed that I like my vision color is different. It's way brighter. And if I get an ultraviolet light and I shine an ultraviolet light on some colors, especially if I shine ultraviolet on a purple color, it comes out gray. So I've lost just a little tiny bit of my color vision, but I've gained a lot of great vision. I can read out of this eye again. It's really nice to be able to see things, because I had like a damaged cataract kind of thing to where it like split stuff into 3, so everything was like blurry and I saw 3 of everything. It was weird, but I'm recovering now, and I'm getting used to it. Yes, but that's not what you want to hear about. You're here because you want to hear about virtual reality stuff. Pop Goes VR is a show about virtual reality in virtual reality. We talk about a bunch of stuff. We talk about movies and books and video games. And today we're talking about the Neil Stephenson book, Snow Crash. This was a 1992 book. Wow, my light went out in the middle of that. I'll have to fix the light when we transition back to you, when we talk to you about it. So yeah, Snow Crash. Tell us about this book, Ryan.
All right, let's give you the synopsis here, boys and girls. So in reality, hero protagonist delivers pizza for Uncle Enzo's Costa Nostra Pizza Inc. But in the metaverse, he's a warrior prince, plunging headlong into the enigma of a new computer virus that's striking down hackers everywhere. He races along the neon-lit streets on a search and destroy mission for the shadowy virtual villain, threatening to bring about the infocalypse. That's a tough one. Snow Crash is a mind-altering romp through a future America so bizarre, so outrageous, you'll recognize it immediately. And yeah, this is kind of one of the first novel about virtuality. It's very much a predecessor to Ready Player One. There's very similar aspects, but very different. Stevenson, the author, he actually coined the phrase metaverse, which is something we hear in media everywhere now. And it's cool. It's definitely more of a it takes the mentality of the writer is, you can tell he's a historian a bit, and he's definitely a programmer, because just the way he's designed the virtual world, the metaverse, is much more real and authentic to like how we know computer programming goes. Like everyone's avatar, depending on it's all about the quality of the avatar, and there's respect levels for like the higher definition. So like if you're just some idiot who's going into the metaverse for the first time, use like these generic avatars that everybody has. So like a status symbol is that you have your own custom avatar, and even then you can, like, if you have the skills, you can like even make the skin resolution better, and you can make hair look better. And so it's just a different, it's its own separate world that just, like I said, it feels very much more rooted in how computers operate.
Yeah. So Snow Crash was written in 1992. It was nominated for awards, Hugo Awards, Science Fiction Awards, 93 and 94. Don't believe it won any. But it was written in 1992. So this is really even pre-internet kind of days. The internet was there, but in 92, it wasn't much. In 92, we were still calling it the information superhighway. So he envisioned a world of virtual reality and the internet before those things were really things. Yeah, the main character, hero protagonist, spelled H-I-R-O. Kind of a weird name. I mean, hero is one thing, protagonist is another thing. Whatever, he gets away with it. Hero is half Korean, half black. His parents, his father fought in World War II and stuff like that. So there's this this cultural kind of thing going on. Hero was a brilliant programmer. He programmed a bar called the Black Sun, as well as many other things in the metaverse. He was there in the beginning of the metaverse and helped build and form and program it. His parents both got sick. He had to sell off his what he owned in the metaverse to take care of them. They got taken care of. They're happy. He's happy. But now he's the prince. The best swordsman in the metaverse. He's highly revered but broke. He's living with his living in like a storage like a U-rent storage shelter. I wouldn't call it a shelter, a storage shed. There we go. With his roommate, Vitaly Chernobyl, who is a rock star, an up-and-coming rock star. And, he does some things in the metaverse. He goes to the Black Sun. He meets his buddy, David. They both programmed the metaverse together. While they're there, David comes in contact with this stuff called Snow Crash. Well, Hero is going into the Black Sun. He also has somebody here, take this drug. And he's like, no, I don't want this drug. But his buddy David rips open the packet, gets it, and it's just like, it's a bitmap. It's a picture, but inside of it is all whatever. He sees it, something happens, he dies, or he doesn't die, but his character crashes. His character Snow crashes. These demons that were programmed into the Black Sun. They help carry out corpses and stuff like that. They look like gorillas and tuxes. Carry him out, and that's where the story really starts with this Snow Crash drug. Then Hero, now he's broke. He's doing things. He's delivering pizzas for Costa Nostra Pizza, which is like a mafia-run pizza place. And they start to introduce you to the other things. All of these factions that have taken over this kind of post-apocalyptic America. The story itself happens set in the 2010 to 2020 era, so it's now, and it's in a post-apocalyptic now kind of thing. Some similarities, in America now to that, but not really. It's much more dire and post-apocalyptic. So it ends up this Snow Crash is this drug that's in the metaverse that will mess you up. And if you're a programmer, it'll really mess you up. It'll fry your brain if you're a programmer. This Snow Crash is a drug that is in the metaverse. It's a real drug, and it's even like, it's in human blood. It can be transferred like a virus. But the basic premise of it is it's this virus drug thing. It's also tied in with religion that hits parts of the human brain, the old parts of the human brain that everybody can kind of communicate with each other on this very low level. So I'll let you pick. I don't know. There's so much going on here, but it comes down to the Tower of Babel was a real thing, and essentially the Tower of Babel scrambled everybody's brains through viruses, through religions, through blood, through whatever, so that humanity would be forced to use its higher functions and grow and better themselves. Because before, when everybody could talk to everybody, there was stagnation. So it was this. It's so confusing. There's so much going on. There's so much details that are going on with it. But the premise is this thing can be used for nefarious purposes to take control of people. The other character that we're like skipping over here is YT. YT is a 15-year-old courier girl who gets mixed up with hero protagonist, and she also helps unravel the very complicated story. What did you like about this novel, Ryan?
Like I said, I really like I like the established the virtual world, the metaverse. I just liked how, like I said, it felt like it was still like the building blocks of VR. It was like if Ready Player One was like the pinnacle, this is like the V1.
Yeah.
There's everything has rules. Like people can't die. You just like cut them up, and because there's no like programming for like death, it just like if you like cut their arm off, their arm just like falls off, but they're still like fine. So it had this like this gaming programming element where if someone didn't make this element of the virtual world, it wasn't there. So they had to like program those kind of things into it, and then if you did, you were awesome. Like Hero made the like sword fighting program. That was his claim to fame. He made sword fighting in VR. Other things I like, the story as convoluted as it gets, and it gets very, very wordy. There's whole chapters where it's just like giant history lessons.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of like Angels and Demons and Da Vinci Code, where there are just chapters that just sit here and just like run on and on and on and on, and it feels like you're in like a museum and someone's just like telling you about the thing you're standing in front of. But when it finally comes together and you really figure out when the plot is revealed, it works. It works really well, and it really struck me as a guy who doesn't really put too much stock in religion. I thought this is a really, really, really cool way to kind of reinterpret religion. You said that once again the story of Babel, and I just thought they worked that wonderfully into the story. Stevenson worked that wonderfully into the story, and it made a lot of sense. The idea that our brains, like I said, we have these little bits that we've lost but can still be accessed, and yeah, it's a really cool book. And like I said, this would have came out right around the time like that kind of first VR peak where you were seeing those big kiosks at like malls and like festivals. This is right around that time, so I can kind of see like, obviously he was inspired by that as well as other things, and it's just I really dug it. It's not perfect. It definitely has some flaws for sure. But before we get to my flaws in the book, what do you like about this thing the most?
There's the part in there, most of the story about religion and the story of Babel and May and Ankies and Namshubs, all of these things they have to tell you the story, is told by the librarian. The librarian, if you watch the Ready Player One movie, they have the librarian role in there, somebody who gives that information. You can ask them questions, they answer questions, they can speculate, they take you through those things. So there's a librarian part of it. I liked how that part of it was told, how they delivered that part with a virtual reality librarian. They had some other kind of things that were kind of neat, the technology, the gargoyles. And the gargoyles is somebody who's basically covered themselves with so much computer gear that they're basically immobile. They're seeing things at all times and having information fed to them at all times, and it's really annoying to have a conversation with them because they're not present with you there. They're looking at things in the virtual world and getting that input. At one point, Hero gets some gargoyle gear of his own, and it kind of, overlays things in the world. It overlays with radar so you can see metals, and you can overlay this and the heat maps and everything, so it takes away a lot of the, what you would as a human see and overlays it with the computer world. There's some really cool scenes in there where he has like this really cool motorcycle he's riding around in the real world, and then he had his motorcycle in the virtual world, and they're having this chase scene where sometimes they're going 60 miles an hour, sometimes they're going 60,000 miles an hour. Because in the virtual world, if you run into a wall, you just stop. And then you go, okay, move. There's not like collisions and stuff like that. It just stops you dead like it would in a computer world. So if you get a straightaway, you're going 60,000 miles an hour. There's a guy named Ravenoff. They call him Raven in the book. And him and Raven are going at it, fighting and sword fighting. And Raven has these glass daggers and sword and all of this. And they got Uncle Enzo. There's a lot of really cool characters in it. My favorite character was the character NG. He's a dude, he was in Vietnam, he's all burnt up and everything, but he found a way to integrate himself technologically into the metaverse. So in the metaverse, if a geisha is giving him a massage, he feels it in real life. And he's kind of like strapped himself and attached himself to this van, so he's mobile. So he's basically just a van with a man grafted into it. And NG helps with some of the technology. There's this really cool gun in there called Reason. So they can, oh, he'll listen to Reason, ha ha ha. And NG helps program the software to help the gun go. So there's a lot of these really cool technology where it blends the virtual reality metaverse into reality and the way those kind of intertwine. So sometimes you forget where in the book you are. I believe there's a little bit of room left in there, kind of like the Matrix, to where are they in the real world or aren't they in the real world? Because the premise of it is you can take namshums and you can kind of, here's the one for bread. Here's one for baking bread. And that gets passed on through blood. So when you're born kind of with the idea, here's how you make bread. Here's how you farm. Here's how you do these things. And the technology that's in the snow crash virtual can mess you up, and the snow crash in the real world can mess you up. And I think it leaves a little bit of room to where are they in the real world or are they in a level? What level of reality are they really in? So tell us about what you didn't like in the book.
It took me a while. I was the beginning of this book, it took 4 chapters for Hero to deliver a pizza, or for the pizza to be delivered, rather. And I just, the pace, you didn't really know what was happening. The universe wasn't explained. So it was very, very confusing. And there are bits throughout the story where I didn't know which reality we were in. Where I was like, which, is it Hero in the real world or Hero in the metaverse? And I had a lot of trouble in the first half of that book, kind of grasping who was where in what reality. It comes together, and maybe that's just a personal gripe of mine, but I found it to be very, very confusing at times. My second issue would be not the beginning, but the ending of the book. The end of the book just, it ends like there should be a prologue, but there's no prologue. Characters run away that, like in the middle of a chase scene, that doesn't ever happen. Characters are reunited and don't say a word, and then it's just like the end. And it's just like, oh, well, like that's not how we end media nowadays. Like it felt like like the main plot was resolved. It didn't leave like gaping holes. It just felt like we should have seen like that conversation between the two heroes as they finally meet again. Instead, it's just like the end. I was like, oh, okay, sure. And the one last gripe I have is that there is a very awkward, it's a rape scene. You can't not call it a rape scene because the YT is a 15-year-old girl. And they do explain it, and it is somewhat justified why it takes place, but it felt really unnecessary, and I felt really icky reading that scene. I didn't really care, or listening to that scene. I didn't really care for that. I think there's better ways around that, but it's a minor point to an otherwise really intriguing novel. So those are my 3 gripes that I have. What about yourself? What didn't you like about this, Danthol?
You're right about the whole scene with Raven and YT, to where they have intercourse. He's something in his 30s. She's 15. It was a date. She was excited by him, but that was kind of like an icky kind of thing. She had a dentata, I guess, that was inside of her, that once he does have intercourse, he's passed out for 4 hours. And that whole kind of thing is weird. So the combination of the passive voice and some of the ways that the characters interact with each other, especially the kind of tries at the romance, hero protagonist with his girlfriend Juanita, YT with Raven, and some of the other kind of weird sexual undertones that they had there, that threw me off a little bit. Overall, I like the book. It's good. It's they're showing a lot of good technology things in there. I forgot to mention in the early part about my favorite parts of it. I like the rat things, the dogs. Like they had these dogs that were like part robot, part dog, kind of put together from pound rescues and stuff like that. And they lived in a virtual world too, to where when they're in their hutch and their thing in their cages, they are chasing frisbees that are flying. There's frisbees that are hanging in the air waiting to be caught, and snakes going off trees, and they get to be with all of the other doggies. And when the doggies bark, there's some things like that are cool technology stuff as well.
Quickly, before we kill this, very quickly, there is actually a film or TV series being developed. They announced it late last year, and that's awesome. They've been trying to make a movie for this thing since 1996, and it's gone through various producers and studios and whatever. Amazon picked it up in 2017, and now it looks like HBO's going to give us a series, which I'm actually looking forward to. I do like the story. It's got some flaws, but I do think this is pretty awesome. I'm the VR Grid. You can find my YouTube channel. I also run the website, thevrgrid.com, where I play and review all manner of VR games. Social media, the VR Grid. If you're looking for me, you can't possibly not find me. I'm readily available to talk about VR with anybody. Danthol, what about yourself?
Yeah, if you want to find out more about me, you can go to watchinvr.com. That's essentially just a link to the YouTube channel that has all of the videos that I've made in VR180. I go to the zoo. I go to arcades. I go to gaming conventions. A lot of things you can't do now because of COVID-19, of course. So thank you very much for watching episode number 12 of PopGoesVR. Have a good one.
See y'all.